In this video, I'm going to show you how to export data from Google Earth Engine. You can export vector data and also raster data. Let's get started. So first, you need to download the notebook example. You can go to tutorials.ggmap.org, and on the left side, click Asset Management, then Export Data. So this is the notebook example we're going to use. Click the upper right corner download icon and download this one to your computer. After that, you need to open Anaconda prompt. So go to Start menu, Anaconda prompt. Then just type conda activate GE. Okay, so this is the environment that we created in the previous videos. If you have not watched the video, you can also watch the Getting Started with Image Earth Engine feature collection and also image and image collection. So because in Earth Engine, vector data is basically feature collection, and raster data you can have Earth Engine image, but you can also have image collection. So image collection basically is a time series about images, or it's essentially a stack of images. And so we're going to show you how to download each data type. And once you have the notebook example, and we can just type Jupyter Notebook, hit enter. It's open Jupyter Notebook on your browser. And then we're going to navigate to the folder where we have the notebook. So it's named Export Data. Okay, so this one has a couple of sections. So we're going to go through one by one. And you might not be able to, if you use the latest one, because I just implement this one yesterday. So this note, if you want to basically install this one, you need to use so once you import the library, and then you can type gemap.update package. Okay, so if you update package and then hit Control Enter to execute this one, because I already used the latest one. And let me take a look in here. So you see there's no module named geo dataset, and you can just download the latest one, and it's going to install the latest version to your computer. And once it's updated, then we can start using the new latest version. So let me clear the output, and let me run this one more time. This one you don't need to execute one more time, it's one time only, and then we should be able to use this one. So the reason that we want to use the this data module, because you can access to the dataset without having to go online to find the asset ID, and I can show you. So all you need is just import, and then just data dot, hit tab on your keyboard. It should be able to automatically basically finding out all the dataset ID. So in this way, it's much easier. So you don't really have to memorize the ID. So it's a lot easier. So let me show you. For example, if I want they say Landsat, okay, so this one can help you find all the dataset available in the Google Earth Engine data catalog. So and then you just type this one, it will show you the ID. So if you want, you can also go to the Gmap the repo, and the left side here notebooks, you can scroll down to see number 64. So this is the one that I just added this morning. I can quickly show you how easy it is right now to execute Earth Engine dataset. And so 64, let me open this one. Okay, so let me go through this one first. Like I said, you need to update the package to the latest version, otherwise you won't be able to actually to use the dataset. Okay, and then I can execute. I can show you the map, and then I can just define an ROI. Okay, it can be a point, it can be a polygon, it can be any location you like. After that, yeah, you might notice here, this one is no longer the double quotes or single quotes. You can use the data module actually to find out the data that you want. Let me execute this couple lines in here just to show you what does this mean, right? So you can add the data set, right? This is just for Landsat, but you can easily change this one to any other data set. So similarly, it will be data dot, okay? So for example, I can show Copernicus. This is from the European Space Agency. So I can, for example, use the Sentinel-2 dataset, and all you need to just like that. You don't have to go online to search or to remember the ID. and I can just execute one more time. It's going to change to, it's going to change to Sentinel-2 data. Okay, so this is much better, much easier. And so once you have the data set, you can do whatever you want. You can also show the similarly get the metadata, right? If you want to find out the time span for each data set, you can use the get metadata function, and then within the metadata, you just need to pass in, for example, data dot, and then select from the list. You can use whatever you want, right? I can just use this one and then just shift enter. It's going to go online and then to extract all the metadata information and show you, for example, the is it the image collection or image or visual collection. You can also take a look at the URL here and click the URL to go to the Earth Engine Data Catalog webpage, and you can you can certainly find more information if you want, right? So you can execute, you can basically check any data set without having to leave Jupyter Notebook. So you can get things done here directly within Jupyter Notebook. You can find any data set you are interested in, and then you can start doing coding. You can download the data set, you can extract the data set, you can do whatever you want. So this is the new function that I just added to the GMap package. So make sure you update this one to the latest version, and then you can import from the dataset module of this data variable and also the get metadata function, so that you can easily find any data set. Okay, so let's go back to the export data, and like I show you, this is the new one edit, and then we are going to basically download some test data set. So we are going to first set an output directory. So Python has an OS library, the module. Once you import the module, we can, for example, we want to download everything, set an initial output directory, and this is under your the tilde is your user directory, and then downloads. So essentially it's going to download things to, for example, to the downloads folder in here. Let me delete all of this just to make it easier to distinguish, right? So later you want to see the files you want to download in here, and if the folder doesn't exist, so if not OS password exists, it's going to create a folder directory recursively. So you can point this one to any output to any folder you like. You can also directly copy, and for example, you can copy any absolute file path, but you need to make sure you put on R at the beginning, R and then or lowercase r and then double quotes. Okay, and then here you can copy any directory you want. So for example, I can go to maybe my C directory and then users. Oh, why did I open so many? And then my name, for example, and you can just copy this one, and then you can paste in here. Okay, so in that way you don't need this one. So you can use the absolute file path. In Windows, you need to make sure you put an R, because Windows use backslash. If you don't use an R at the beginning, R means a raw string. So basically use as it is. Otherwise, the back escape sign in programming, they have a spatial meaning, so it might not work out properly. So make sure that you use this. I'm going to use Ctrl-G to go back to what I did earlier. Okay, so I'm going to download everything to my downloads folder, and first I'm going to show you how to download on image collection. So basically a vector data set, and this one I use the data set from my Earth Engine account, but you're welcome to use any Earth Engine Data Catalog vector data set. It doesn't have to, you don't have to use this one. I'm just going to show you this is easier. So this is the feature collection. We can add the feature collection to the map, just to show you this is polygon at global scale, right? So we want to download this one from Google Earth Engine. There are two ways you can download. You can download either to your local computer, or you can also download the data to your Google Drive. Okay, so there are two ways you can do this. And the first one here, we are going to download this one to our computer. So like I said, you need to set the output file path, right? We already know that we're going to download this one to our output directory, but you also need to choose a name. So the name, we are going to download this one as a swap file. You can also as a GeoJSON if you want, right? So this will be the full path, file path. And then you can just call the function export underscore vector. And if you don't know what to provide, you can just shift tab on your keyboard to bring up the tips. So the first one is the EE object. This one is the feature collection and the file name. So this is the absolute file path or relative file path. You can also, if you only want to export a certain attribute, you can use the selector. So this would be the least. If you want, like, just if your vector data has a lot of columns, you just want to export a couple columns, then you can use this one. And verbals means whether you want to print out the description or not. Maybe they will just execute. And just to show you, for example, it's going to generate the URL, and then basically this is the link. You can click the link to directly download the data, or you just wait, and then the data will going to be downloaded to your computer automatically, right? And then you can open downloads folder, go to the downloads folder, take a look. It's here, so it's very easy, right? Everything is automatic. If you don't want to show the description in here, you can change the verbals to false, and then control enter. It's not going to show you anything, but you will see a star sign on the left side here indicating the program is running. So it's sometimes if the data set is pretty big, it might take a while. So you can set the verbals to true if you want to see the description, right? So the data set again, it has been downloaded again. And if you want, you can load this data set to other GS software packages, for example, QGIS or ArcGIS or whatever GS software packages you are using. And so this is how easy it is to actually download the data from Google Earth Engine to your local computer. You can also export data to your Google Drive. Let me show you in here. And okay, so you can drag this one directly to the map, right? So this is the same one that we down the one show on the Google Earth Engine, the G map, right? So, and you can click to here to see the attribute. You can also open the attribute table if you want. Okay, so this is how you export data to your local computer. Like I said, you can also export to your Google Drive, and the parameters that you need to provide are slightly different. Okay, so in here, export vector data to Drive, and then the first one is still the feature collection, and the second one is the description. So essentially, this one will be the file name we're going to export, and the folder you need to specify which Google Drive folder you want to export, and then the file format by default it's a shape file. And similarly, you can use the selector. So again, I can just run this one. It's going to show you, but this one is executed instantly. Keep that in mind. The data has been the task has been created, but you need to check your Google Earth Engine account in order to see whether the file has been successfully executed or not. So you can go to Google Earth Engine, and then you need to log in to your account, code editor, right? So once it's logged in, on the right side here, click task. It's going to show you in here. So the task is where the file has been exported. So it only takes 21 seconds. You can click here, and also you can open in Drive. It's going to take to your Google Drive. Okay, so it's here. So this is the file that we just downloaded. You can take a look at the file name in here, right? 1 p.m. So and then you can download this one to your computer to open if you want. Okay, so this is how you can export data either locally or just to your computer. One thing that you might want to keep in mind is that if your vector data is very big, you always want to export to your Google Drive, because if you want to export to a local computer, it has some restrictions. So the file size is not, you cannot have a huge file to directly download because it's going to take a while. So always keep in mind, small ones you can download to a computer directly. Larger files download to your Google Drive, and then from Google Drive to your computer. Okay, so that's the first one about exporting feature collection. The second example is to export an image. Okay, so again, I'm going to show you here. This is a Landsat data. It can be any raster data set. Okay, you just need to just change the variable and then visualize. So in this example, this is a global scale Landsat data, 30-meter resolution from Mosaic, basically from 1999 to 2003, and we are going to export a small subset. Okay, don't try to export the entire data set because this is huge. It's going to take a while. So in this just demo, I'm just going to show you how to export a small section of the data set. And first, we need to basically set the export file path. Again, we're going to export this one to the downloads folder. and the name we are going to use is Landsat.tf. Okay, so you can customize the name if you want. Next, you need to draw an ROI, so a region of interest, and I can maybe go navigate to anywhere. If you want to, for example, if you want to take a look at the location, you can also change the, for example, the base map. I can change to satellite. Okay, and I can zoom in to any location, maybe the hybrid better because you have labels. Okay, so I'm going to zoom into my city, Knoxville, Tennessee, and maybe from here, then I can just draw a rectangle. Okay, so I'm going to draw a rectangle somewhere here, and you can close. You can turn the dataset back on. Okay, so in this case, we're just going to export this small dataset to our computer, and this is the ROI, right? So once you draw the rectangle, you can just execute this one. You can also, if you already, for example, you can want to export the entire country, you can use some other feature collection. So essentially, this is basically a geometry, and you can use the map ROI, or you can use your existing feature collection, whatever you want. So, and then you can just take a look at the get info to take a look at the coordinates. Okay, so after that, we can clip the imagery, right? So this is the global scale, but we just want a small piece of the image, and we can just do the clip, use the clip function, and then this is the outline that we're going to clip. Once we have that, we can maybe hit, if we clip, or it's not added to the map yet, so you just need to add the layer to the map. Then we can maybe turn the existing layer off, right? So now we only have this small piece. So this is the one we're going to export. And so there are two ways you can export. You can export the entire image, right? So this is the function e_export image. Shift tab on your keyboard if you want to bring up the more information. So the first one here is the EE object. This is essentially the image we're going to export. The name we're going to choose, the name we already said earlier here is Landsat.tf. The scale is basically the spatial resolution. So Landsat data has 30-meter resolution, and you can set the scale to 30, but because for this demo, we're just going to change to a coastal resolution 90. And then you can change the, for example, the coordinate system, also the region. So the region is the same ROI here, the rectangle. And file per band means because Landsat has 7 spectral bands. If you want each band as an individual image, you're going to get multiple images. Okay, so if I set to false, everything will be within one image. Okay. So you see here, it's pretty quick, right? You have the data, and then it has been exported. So we can go back to the image folder, and it's here. And let me go back to maybe open you can open the data in QGIS or other data. Okay, so because we only export a small piece, and this is like a very coastal resolution. And after that, you can change the setting. For example, I can change to maybe straight to min max. To make it more clear, right? And you can also change the band combination. You can change to maybe 432, so that it's a false color composite, and then hit apply. Okay, right? So this is how you can export the data. You can see here, very easy. And if your data set is small, it's only going to take you a couple of seconds. So this is how you can export the entire image. If you want each image as an individual band, you can change the file per band to true. Okay, so again, I'm going to hit run, and all the other parameters are the same except the last one. Then we can go back to the file in here. Now you see that all the bands have been exported individually, and there's a name called B1, B2, B3, B4, right? So similarly, you can add this individual band to the map if you want. You can just draw a drag, and you will see here individual one. So it's up to you what you want to export. And the next one is to export to Google Drive. Like I said, if you are trying to export a large data set, sometimes Google Search Engine won't allow you to do that. So you need to export the data to your Google Drive if your data set is over the limit. Again, we're going to export the image, and then the description is called Landsat. This is called the file name going to be used, and it's going to be export to the export folder and region, and also scale. So this one, you will notice here I use 30 meter because you can use a much larger limit. And since I already have 2 images in here, name this, I can go to delete all of them so that I can show you the result. Okay, and just execute. Once this one is executed, it doesn't mean this is finished. Okay, so you need to go back to your Google Earth Engine account, and then from the list in here, you might need to refresh in order to see that. Sometimes it might take a couple seconds to display. Okay, so it's here. Now this file is being exported to your Google Drive, and you can come back later to see. It might take 1 minute or 2 to download the image. Okay, so this is how you can export data to image to Google Drive. Also, you can export an image collection. So image collection, that means you have a bunch of images. You have a stack of images. And if you use this function, you can only export one by one. It will be nice to that. Yeah, you don't have to do that manually. So you can export the entire image collection very easily. So next, I'm going to use the other data set. This is the USDA NAP imagery, 1 meter resolution, and then you can set the location, the coordinates. The point can be any location, or you can it can be a feature collection, and then you can do the filtering. So if you don't know how to use that, go to the getting started with Earth Engine feature collection. Okay, and after that you can come back to here, and then let me execute. Similarly, we are going to download to the downloads folder, but you can also use the aggregate array to see what kind of images are within this image collection. So for example, this is the NAP imagery from 2008 to 2020 for this specific location. So it has 7 images covering this location, and these are all the image IDs. You can also basically tell the date of this imagery, right, from 2019, 2009, and 2010. So once you have the list of images, we can directly call the function export image collection, and then the collection and also the output directory. So this is the image collection. Again, you can shift tab on your keyboard to bring up the information, and the feature collection output directory. You can set the scale. If you don't set, it's going to use the default scale, and also the region, whether you want to each individual band or not. Okay. So just hit run. It's going to go through the loop, right? We have 7 images, and it's going to show you, okay, 1 images, 2 images, 3 images until it's finished. So that would be nice because you don't have to go through to download them individually. You just need one line of code. You can download all the images all at once. So this one shows you here. This is the all the image ID, and let me just clear this one just to show you the data that we downloaded. We can just maybe drag one of those, and then you can just hit okay. Right, so you have the images. So this is 1 meter. I think by default it's downloaded as 10 times. So this is 10 meter resolution data set, and this is one of the image. You can drag another one. Okay, you see it's different because this is time series images. Okay, so you can also export this one to your Google Drive. Very similar. This is the image collection ID and the folder you want to export. Also the scale. Okay, and then just hit 1. It's going to tell you it's 7 images, and it's going to create the task. Once the task is created, go back to Earth Engine. Okay, so this one has finished. You can take a look here. It's this one. Then you can download this one to your computer. Okay, you need to refresh. Once you refresh, you should be able to see the task. So Google Earth Engine actually download each image, one image, one task, and you have them all here. You need to basically come back to check later to make sure that the images are being downloaded successfully. Okay, so once it turns blue, that means it has been downloaded, and then you can come back to here. They appear, and you can wait until all the images have been downloaded. Then you can use download the dataset here to your Google Drive. So this is basically the same procedure, right? So always keep in mind, small files download directly to computer. Last one download to Google Drive first. Otherwise, it's going to basically sometimes exceed the limit. So Google Earth Engine does not allow you to download those directly to your computer. Okay, so you have 3 files now. Last one I'm going to show you is that to download extract pixels as a Numpy array. Sometimes if you just want to basically download extract pixel values, and do some computation. You don't necessarily have to download the image and then read the image using other packages. In GMap, there's a function called EE to NumPy. So NumPy basically is a Python library that can deal with matrices, and this is especially good for dealing with images. And so we are trying here to download a small piece, and then we want to just display that small piece on the map without using GMap, but you can also display using a NumPy or a Matplotlib. So in here, I'm just going to export, and to show you, for example, you can define an ROI, and you can also pass in a rectangle if you want. Right, so this is just one small piece of the map, and this is the rectangle, the region that we are going to download, and then just call the function E to NumPy. Shift tab on your keyboard if you want to bring up, right? So this is the Earth Engine object, it's the image, and you can pass in a region of interest, and it's going to just export that specific area. You can also set other parameters if you want. You can read the details about each parameter. And so in this way, you see here, we don't need to set the file path. We don't need to download the data physically, or you don't need to export the data to Google Drive. You can directly extract the pixel values and then convert those pixel values as a NumPy array. Then you can use that to do plotting. You can use it to do computation. You can use that to do some mathematical operations with other NumPy arrays. So this is one way you can directly extract pixels. But also keep in mind, this only works for a small area. If your area is really big, and again, it's going to exceed the Google Earth Engine limit, and it won't allow you to do that. In that case, you need to export to your Google Drive and then load the data, download the data. Then you use some other packages to actually read the data from your Google Drive or from a local computer, and then you can load it on the map. Okay, so that's all for this tutorial, and hopefully you will find it useful. If you use Google Earth Engine for doing all kind of geospatial analysis, eventually you will need to download the data to your computer. So Google Earth Engine, the data format is slightly different from the traditional data format. So you need to actually use some specific way to special way to download the data. So vector data or image collection. And the GMap package provide you all the functions that you need to download to your local computer or to Google Drive, and also as a NumPy array. So, and you can practice this one to download dataset for any dataset you want or for any location. And I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.